Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me today for my interview with Régis Lejonc, the illustrator of The Garden of Inside Outside, which was written by Chiara translated by Sarah Ardizone, and published by us, Book Island. It was co-funded by Creative Europe. Régis, thank you
Hi.
so much for joining us today from Bordeaux in France. You've been an illustrator for a very long time, for 27 years, and you've published more than 80 books, I believe, with various French publishers. What kind of books do you usually work on?
Well, I usually work for I work for children books. That's what mostly is my creation, and I've made the count of my books because I knew you would ask me this question, and it's more like 90 books I've published since
Wow.
1995, which was my first publication, my first publishing with my first illustration for a book for children. And so this is something I do a lot. This is most of my creation, and I love it because the children books are for me books for everybody, for children, sure, but also for the parents and the grandparents. So this is a field I love to share stories because they can touch everyone.
Mm-hmm. And you mainly illustrate comics and graphic novels, right? And also picture books. You're very versatile. You can do anything.
Yes, I try. Yeah.
Now, The Garden of Inside Outside was your first collaboration with Chiara Mezzalama. How did you get to illustrate her story?
Well, it's a very simple story because the French publisher, they discovered Chiara's work, and they asked her to tell the story that is in the book, in The Garden of the Inside Outside. And this story was a little part of a novel that she wrote.
Yes, I've got that novel here.
Yes.
Le Jardin Persan, the Persian Garden.
The Persian Garden. And Chiara is Italian, and she wrote a novel in Italian. But she also speaks perfect French because she studied in French school since she was a little girl. And so she wrote this story for the first time for her in French. And then the French publisher, named the Elephant, Les Éditions des Éléphants, they thought about me to make the illustration. So that's how the story of this book started. And then they have created a meeting in Paris where I met for the first time Chiara and the publishers, and we talked about the project together. And this was a very important moment because I didn't know Chiara before. She didn't know me as well. So we didn't know if we would get along, if we would like each other and be excited to work together on this book. And we got along very well. And that was very special because the story from this book is her story, something that happened to her when she was 9 years old. And so before we met, I asked her by mail if she was okay to bring some pictures from her family books, from family picture books of the time, so that I can see how she was looking like as a little girl and how was the environment where she was living at the time in Tehran, in Iran, so that I can have enough documentation to be close to the truth in a way. That's how the story started.
So I've got the French edition here, Le Jardin du Dehors, and it has won 7 awards in France. Can you explain why? Why is this such a special book? Why did it receive so many?
For sure, Grit. It's a special book. Like I was telling you before, I have published around 90 books very different, the ones from the others, right? But none of those 90 books got such rewards, you know. So this is coming from somewhere. This is not something that. And when I think about it, the reason why this book got such a critical success was because it's a true story at first, and it's touching people, you know, that it's something that actually happened to the author of this book. And the second reason, which is maybe even more important, is what this story is telling us. It's telling us about open mind. It's a story that tells us that when we are grown up adults, sometimes we forgot how we were when we were kids. And the kids, they don't ask themselves that much questions. When they meet another kid from another culture with another language, and they can't even communicate the one with the other, they can play together. Mm-hmm. They can get along, and they can find a field of game, of imaginary field that is actually working, even if they are very different the one from the other, because they are open mind to receive and meet new things, curiosity, and which is, to me, the best quality in the world, I think. And this is something that belongs to childhood, you know, and it's harder to find when you grow up. So this message, which is under the story, is very important as well. And maybe it helped to get such rewards, I think.
Yeah, so it's a children's book.
Mm-hmm.
But it also speaks to adults. And I think that's what makes it really important.
And
it has so many layers, as you mentioned. And absolutely. Every time you go back to it, and I've read it so many times in French and in English, and I always discover new elements. And I think reading it with children helps us also see different things, because as an adult, we read in a different way, don't we? It's just wonderful to speak to children about the book.
There is something very special with the books, is that it's affective. I don't know if this word exists in English. Affective, something. The book is not an unusual object. It's something that we care about, especially when you got the book when you're a child. It's something that you're going to carry with you all your life long, and you're going to share with your own children when you're going to be parents, and maybe with your grandchildren when you're going to be grandparents. So it's a long story between the reader and his book.
By the way, I should mention that you won the biggest award in France for this book, the Prix Sorcière, which is the award given by the independent bookshops.
Absolutely.
You won it in 2017, but you won that prize twice in 2 different categories, didn't you? Is that unusual?
It is totally unusual and unexpected. And
were you the first illustrator who received the award in 2 different categories?
2 different categories, 2 different books,
yes,
which are totally different the one from the other, but who were published in the same year, and that had a lot of success with the readers. So that's very unusual, very, very. I don't even know if it happened before, I must say. But I was very, very happy with this, because before I had never won any of this award before.
Okay, and then you got
the same year 2, and the next year 1 again. I had with a documentary book, very different, another category. But I've been very spoiled with this.
Yes, well,
with these awards. Yeah.
You must be doing something right. You must be doing something right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Tell me what it was like to illustrate the book. How did you start? First of all, how do you plan this? What are the steps?
What are the steps? Like I said before, the first step was the meeting with Chiara and the publisher. It was important for me because this has prefigured the work I would do after. Finally, it was quite easy because when I got back home from this meeting, I had many pictures, like I said, from Chiara. And this gave me the opportunity to settle down the atmosphere of the book, because I could see how it looked like, the palace, the garden, picture of Chiara as a child. I made a portrait of her that is quite alike, but I didn't want to be too precise, because I wanted to have a part of freedom so that I can give her face expression at a certain moment of the story. But to come back to your question, the first illustration that I made for this book, I'm going to show it to you, and you're going to recognize it immediately. The first image that I made was the cover.
Oh wow!
And
I didn't realize
this is the original drawing. And I'm gonna put it closer to the nice.
Beautiful.
This way. I did that very, very fast after I came back from this meeting. And this image was very important because it's like in the music when you give a note that is going to give the rest of the harmony of the tune, you know, of the music. This image gave the note for the rest of the book. I mean, technically, in the representation, in the drawing itself, and once I've made this illustration, I knew how to draw all the rest of the book. After, it's a work of imagination and creation, image after image, to walk on the side of the text. I don't know how to say in other words. But it was not a complicated book for me to illustrate, because I was filled with the meeting, with the exchanges we had, with the talks we had with Chiara, and all this was enough for me to start and make the illustration. So it was not the most complicated book I had to illustrate in my career. It was light and a lot of pleasure.
So you drew all the illustrations on quite big sheets, I can
see. Yes.
It's much bigger than the book.
It's a bigger, yeah. It's bigger than the size of the book. I needed to do that because I use a pen. I'm going to show you. I put this so you can see, and I'm going to put it nearby. You see?
Wow.
It looks like I don't know how you say it.
It's a felt pen, isn't it? Yes.
But it has a very, it's big. I mean,
it's quite a thick, it produces a thick line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite big. So if I draw too small, I won't be able to be precise in my drawing. That's why I made the drawing bigger.
And do you make roughs before you go for the finished?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
But this I don't keep. I can't show you because I don't keep. I don't keep those drawings. They are sketches. But the sketches, they help me to figure out what is necessary into the illustration at this moment of the story. It's something for myself. But when I start to draw with a pen. But then I can change and rework the images, the one after the other, to get to the result I expect. And once I've done those drawings, I scan those drawings so that I can keep the work, I can go on the work with the Photoshop on my computer. And that's where I can correct the drawing if I need. I can change a few things if I want, and I can put the colors.
Okay, add the colors. Yeah.
Yes.
So was there anything that you changed Can you?
Oh, yes. Yes, from the originals to the book, of course. I have an example. I'm going to show you one, but there are many. But I'm going to show you this one because it's easy to show you with the camera.
Okay.
The original of this image from the book.
Yes, I have the
maybe
the
you can
here,
show
so
from the book the difference. Great. Yeah. As you can see on my drawings, first of all, I flipped, I think. No, I flipped or not? I don't know.
No, you didn't flip.
No, I didn't flip. Sometimes I can flip the image as well on the computer. But on this one, I've put a shadow, a shade on the character of Chiara, because when I drew this, I thought it was helping with the atmosphere of sadness at this moment of the story. But after, I realized that it was not that good. So I erased all this on the computer to draw the drawing and the face completely, the face of the character. That's an example among others. There are differences between the originals and the results in the book every time.
Once everything is scanned, you've added the colors, you've changed things, you then send the artwork to the publishers, and then they'll take it. They'll actually have to design the book, because that's not something you're doing, right?
Alors, I made spaces. You can see. I go back to another image so that I can change. I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you this one. As you can see, I had prepared the space for the text every time, you know. So the choice for the design of the book is the choice of the typographic choice, you know. What kind of writing, typographic writing is gonna get along with this, and this is something that the publisher do. But the space where the text is gonna be put into the book was already prepared for with the illustration.
It's actually really important to do that, to think about that in advance, because if the illustrator starts making this beautiful artwork and there's no space for the text, and what do you do then? You have to see that in picture books, though, that they had to find a solution and it doesn't look right.
Absolutely.
But it is this in this book, you can really feel that the publisher and their graphic designer have done a terrific job and really thought about where to place everything so that you can then create your artwork accordingly.
Yeah, it's very important. And you know, what you're telling is something that I have experienced myself when I began to do the illustration. I was not thinking of the space for the text, so it was a problem. But it happens once in your life, and then after you be careful for the following books, you know.
I'm sure every illustrator makes that mistake once.
Oh, of course, it's an obligation. You don't think about it at first.
So a question about the format. It's very difficult to describe this book. It's not a picture book. It's not a comic. It's not a graphic novel.
The mix.
What would you call it? A hybrid?
Hybrid, yes, it's a good word for it. And even in France, you know, we have a very, very rich creation in France with children's books. And this kind of narrative story, you don't see that much. I'm probably the only one, or I don't know. We're not a lot mixing graphic novel style and image book. It's something that I really, really like, because it's not the same way to tell a story. When you get, I don't have the book, but
when
you know, in the pages that looks more like a graphic novels pages, with, you know, all the
with the speech
bubble. No, you can show after and before, you know, when there are more
smaller ones
in the page.
This one here?
Yes, absolutely, something like that. This is like an acceleration at this moment. And what interests me, because it's my choice. It's not something coming from the text. It's not something coming from the publisher. It's something that I choose as an illustrator to use to tell the story with the illustrations. This narration, we call it, in French, we have a lot of words for that. I don't know in English. I don't know the words in English. I'm sure there are as well, but there is a la narration séquencée. It's like sequences.
Yeah.
That, you know, when you do graphic novel, when you tell a story by a graphic novel, you divide the time between each image. There is time. Sometimes it's very short time, like fight, you know, punch, you fall, very short time. But sometimes it can be a long time. I'm like this on the first image, and there is a clock. And second image, I'm like this, and on the clock, you can see that 3 hours passed between the two images. So it's something that helps to divide the time. That's why I'm telling about accelerations. When you realize, when you create an illustration, you create one moment, specific moment of the story, but you can make it extraordinary, this moment. You can play with many, many ways to make it magic, to make it scary, to make it sad, to make it happy, to make it anything, like emotional things like this on one image. And when you have the opportunity to play with these two voices in a way, you can give the story something richer to read and to share. That's why I like to do that.
Just before, you were talking about colors, the book you did about colors. And actually, there's something we need to know about the colors that you've used for this book, because there are two very dominant colors, green and red. Tell me about that. And actually, meanwhile, I'm going to show pictures. So, because maybe some of our some of the people watching us today won't have seen the book yet. So you see how...
I have this original from this picture. I'm going to show it to you because it's in relationship with my drawing.
Oh, wow.
This is the image you were showing. This is the original drawing. And with this kind of drawing, the color, they had to be simple in a way. Just one straight color, not too many colors. Because if I make too many colors, if I put too many colors on a drawing like this, it's not going to be pretty. So I didn't want too many colors. That's the style of this drawing that pushed me to this reflection, you know? Then, not too many colors. There is these two words in this story. There is the scary world, which is outside, what's going on in the city because of the war, absolutely, because of all this violence and because the country is at war at the time, and everything is very impressive for a little, and there's a lot of anxiety. And then there is this little heaven, which is the garden. And the garden of the inside is a place where you feel safe, where everything is beautiful, where it could be more colorful than what I've done. But once I have chosen to use only the red, the white and the black for the outside, I said, okay, there's something interesting because, you know, in colors, the red is one of the primary color and the green is a complementary color. And it's the complementary color from the green, from the red, sorry.
Yes.
Because, you know, the green, you make it with the two primary color, which are the blue and the yellow. And with this, you create the complementary color, which is the green. So there is no red to create the green. So that's why these two colors are complementary, the one with the other. So it had a certain sense, just symbolically speaking, using red and green.
Very clever.
And all those was part of the reflection for the colors.
But eventually the inside and the outside come together in the book.
Absolutely.
So then you don't have that green and red dominating. So let me just find a page from the
thing changed
this
when
is
the
like
when
the
the
inside.
boy.
This is a really good example.
After,
the inside
after,
and the outside come together, and it becomes the scary outside enters the inside and becomes less scary. So these are
less scary, absolutely. And then I could get rid of this code in a way at this moment, because once Massoud, and when Massoud appears for the first time, when he climbs the wall to get into the garden, he's a scary character. He's like a little demon. We don't know exactly how he looks like, but
he looks really scary, doesn't he?
Look at him, you know. What is this? Yes. And he's all red at first when I made the color, because it's coming from the outside. We don't know. Maybe he's a danger. But of course he's not a danger. That's what the story tells us. He's just a boy.
Yeah. And this is the boy then later in the story.
Later is
when he receives the T-shirt from
Yes.
Régis, tell us, what are your plans for the future? Do you have anything exciting coming up? Are you working on any new books?
There are always new books. And there is one particularly exciting because I'm illustrating a second book with Chiara. I'm starting right now, I'm starting it. It's called in French, La robe de soie. Robe is a silk.
The silk...
the silk dress.
Dress?
Dress. And it's the second book we're going to do together, Chiara and I. But of course, we know each other much, much better since the first book. So there's something even more intimate. It's going to be interesting to see how this book, I know the text already because it's been written, but I start my part of the work on this book right now, and it's going to be published 1 year from now.
So how long will it take you to make the artwork?
I'm going to tell you about, I don't know for the one coming, but I can tell you about the Garden of the Inside Outside. It took me like 3 months of work.
Wow, full time.
Yeah.
Well,
because of course it takes time for me to, the long part is not to make the drawing itself. The long part is to create the drawing, to invent, to know how to tell the story through the drawing. That's the particularity of my work. It's not only drawing, it's telling story or telling something through the drawing, and something that belongs to me, but which is in total respect of the text. That's the...
So you're telling you're basically illustrating your interpretation of the story.
Absolutely.
You're creating it's not a new story, but it's a different layer again. You're adding your layer to Chiara's story. Yes.
That's why I like to work with authors as an illustrator, and I like to work with illustrators when I am an author. Because I think when we are two people, we go 2 times further than when we were alone. That's my personal feeling. It's only my feeling. It's not a truth, right? But that's the way I live things like this. So, and of course, there is the publisher as well. The publisher is a living part of the drawing. It's not just somebody printing and selling the book. It's somebody thinking with us about the book. And in the case of our French original publishers with this book, this is a nice relationship we have with, Chiara, with them in the writing. Once I start to make the illustration, the way they see that they are not imposing anything to me, like, oh no, you shouldn't draw this or you shouldn't use this. if there is something that bothered them in terms of comprehension of the story, they tell me, or if they say, oh, but if you do that, wouldn't it be better or more powerful to tell you this? This is the way we work together, and it's really fine with me. It's not like, oh, this drawing, this color. No. This is the field of my personal freedom, which is very important to me. That's because I choose to tell this kind of story, to make this kind of books. This is my total choice to join the project because the book moved me. The story moved me at first. That's how I work personally.
And I think it's moved many people. It moved me so much when I first read it. I had to publish it.
Yeah,
it's too important to not have it translated into English. I didn't want the children here and the teachers and the parents to miss out. On this note, I would like to say thank you for your time. And Régis, I will see you again because we are going to record an art challenge for children and adults in the UK. But I won't say anything more about that. We'll post that video on our channel and you'll be able to watch it and make your own art with Régis. So merci beaucoup. I'll see you very soon. And thank you everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.